Greetings, everyone. I'm Detective STARBORN, and I'm glad to see you on my YouTube channel. Please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on new and interesting videos. Thank you, and enjoy watching. This is an infuriating story of how a killer walked free despite overwhelming evidence of their guilt. In a quiet Texas town, a bright and innocent 13-year-old girl vanished without a trace, her disappearance going unnoticed for 24 agonizing hours. For 15 long years, her murderer has evaded justice, even after being arrested and charged. What started as a promising breakthrough in 2021 has now become one of Texas's most frustrating cold cases, leaving a family devastated and a community demanding answers. The most chilling part? The suspected killer still walks the same streets where young Hailey Dunn spent her final days, while mountains of circumstantial evidence point directly to his involvement. This is a story that will make your blood boil. A tale of justice system failures, questionable police work, and a grieving father's relentless fight for truth that continues to this day. In this video, we'll tell you what happened to Hailey Dunn. This story took place in the American town of Colorado City, Texas. This place represents typical low-rise America. With an area of approximately 8.5 square miles, the town had a population of just 4,000 people. During Christmas of 2010, the town was filled with a holiday atmosphere. Residents decorated their homes, participated in festive events, and enjoyed their time. 13-year-old Hailey Dunn was no exception. For Christmas, she received a new iPod, which made her incredibly happy. Hailey lived with her mother Billy and her boyfriend Shawn, as well as her older brother David. Her biological father, named Clint, had divorced her mother when the girl was 10 years old, but they never stopped communicating. The fact was that her father lived literally across the street from Hailey's house, so they saw each other almost every day. The girl was very close to her father and tried to spend as much time with him as possible. Family and friends described the girl as cheerful, fun-loving, and energetic. She was part of her school's cheerleading team, participated in track and field, and played the saxophone. Additionally, Hailey was a member of 3 sports teams. On December 26th, she spent most of Christmas at her father's house, unwrapping presents. After that, she came home, played video games, and went to bed. The next day, her stepfather and mother went to work. As usual, Billy left her mobile phone at home so the children could contact her. Before leaving, she looked in on her daughter's bedroom while she was still sleeping. Shawn worked in another town, which was about a 30-minute drive away. According to him, that day he had an argument with his boss, resulting in his dismissal and departure from work just 10 minutes after arriving. After this, he drove to his mother's house, spent some time there, and returned to Colorado City around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In the evening, Shawn went to pick up Billy from work. When they arrived home, Billy noticed that her daughter wasn't there. Shawn told her that during the day, the girl had come to his room and said she was going to her father's house. After that, she planned to go to a friend's house and spend the night there.
That was my day, and then I came home around, I guess like 3 o'clock I got there, and Hailey was there watching TV in the living room, and I went into me and Billy's bedroom, and she came in there and told me that she was going to her father's house and that she was staying the night with a friend, and then she left. And then I was there by myself for maybe an hour at the most, and then David and a friend came over, and they went to his room, and they were playing video games and so forth, and Billy called me and told me that that her relief got there and that she's going to get to leave a little early, so I was up there at the hospital in Snyder around 6 o'clock to pick her up, and then we came back, and then we went to bed shortly after that.
And this whole time you were thinking Hailey was at a friend's house?
Yes.
About what time did she say she was leaving now?
What time Hailey was leaving?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was sometime in between 3 and 3:30 when she said she was leaving. It was like shortly after I got there. I'm not real sure about a time.
Does she normally call and check in every so often, or is it normal to not hear from her for so long?
It's pretty normal for her just to not call, because she usually does that though, because she does stay the night at a friend's house. She'll be back the next morning.
Hailey often stayed overnight at friends' houses, so her mother was comfortable with this information. In such small towns, there's often an illusion of safety, so parents worry less about something happening to their children. The next day, December 28th, Hailey still hadn't come home. Billy decided to call the parents of the friend where her daughter was supposed to have spent the night. To the mother's surprise, they weren't even aware that Hailey had planned to stay at their house. She had never shown up there. Further investigation revealed that the girl hadn't even gone to her father's house. That's when Billy became seriously worried and decided to ask the neighbors if they had seen her daughter. She walked around the nearby houses, but no one had seen the girl that day. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Billy contacted the police, but they decided to take the easiest route. The police's main theory was that she had run away from home, which initially harmed the investigation. A voluntary runaway isn't investigated at the same level as a missing minor case. They searched Billy's and Clint's homes and brought in search dogs the next day. The dogs tracked Hailey's scent from the house to a local motel. This was very strange. None of the motel staff had seen the girl. She hadn't appeared on any surveillance cameras, and a complete search of the building yielded no results. The trained dogs had indicated the motel, but the girl apparently had never been there. As soon as the news of Hailey's disappearance spread through town, dozens of concerned citizens joined the search. Some examined the area, while others printed and distributed flyers. And here we come to another strange moment. Clint, the girl's biological father, hardly left the streets. He looked in every corner, examined all possible hiding places, even looked in garbage containers. According to him, he simply couldn't sit at home and wait. Meanwhile, Billy and Shawn didn't share such enthusiasm. The mother distributed flyers, but refused to walk around the neighborhood and search for her daughter. She explained this by saying that searching created the impression that they were already looking for her body, and there was no chance of finding the girl alive. As for Shawn, he took absolutely no part in the search. But that's not the strangest part. On December 31st, 4 days after the girl's disappearance, Billy and Shawn threw a New Year's Eve party. Friends came over, they listened to music, drank, and had fun. Such behavior from a mother whose daughter had vanished without a trace seemed simply absurd. On January 3rd, a week after Hailey's disappearance, the police finally officially declared her missing. This meant that more serious agencies, such as the FBI and Texas Rangers, could join the case. And that's exactly what happened. Representatives from these agencies arrived in Colorado City and began their investigation. Volunteers continued to comb the area, and more than 100 billboards with information about the missing girl were placed throughout Texas and beyond. Detectives completely ruled out the runaway theory. First, they couldn't find a single reason why Hailey might have decided to take such a step. The day before her disappearance, she had been in great spirits, and at other times, the girl hadn't shown any signs that might indicate a tendency to run away. Second, absolutely all her belongings remained in her room. If the girl had decided to run away, she would have taken at least something with her.
Well, Lane and Victor, we're going into day 9 in the search for Hailey Dunn, and there's still no sign of her. When I visited with the Dunn family this morning, I saw Texas Rangers scouring through Hailey's room. If we take a look over here, this is the window to her bedroom. Now, Texas Rangers, I'm told, have not found anything and no sign of foul play or any sign of her packing her bags and running away from home at this time. More than a week later, and still no sign of Hailey. Her mother says it's frustrating, but she remains hopeful.
But I have to do nothing but hope that she left by herself and that she's going to come back to me, because if I don't cling on to that hope, I don't have anything.
Now, local authorities tell me they're following several tips at this time. Several agencies have stepped in, and the reward once again is $25,000 for tips that lead to Hailey Dunn.
Detectives quickly realized they should take a closer look at Billy and Shawn. Their passive attitude towards searching for the girl and the New Year's party made them seriously question whether they were concerned about Hailey's fate. Detectives discovered that on December 27th, The very day when Hailey supposedly stayed overnight at a friend's house, Shawn and Billy withdrew $140 from their bank cards. They admitted that this money went toward buying illegal substances, which the couple used that same evening, taking advantage of the children's absence from home. On January 6th, it became known that the police had questioned Billy and Shawn using a polygraph. The results were very interesting. Billy failed 2 attempts. During the first interrogation, she was under the influence of substances, and the second result indicated deception. Shawn also failed 2 interrogations, and he simply walked out of the third one without even finishing answering the questions. After this, Billy suspected Shawn might be involved in her daughter's disappearance and demanded he move out of her house.
Hailey's case was on national television, and Nancy Grace seemed to be a little hard on you. What was that like, hearing her question Billy like that?
I heard about it. I wasn't there when Billy was getting interviewed by her. I was talking to the Texas Rangers, but I heard about it, and it's frustrating, what she said about me, but it really doesn't bother me because, my main focus is just Hailey, because we just want her to come home safe.
Does it hurt to think people would point fingers at you, the person who cares about her?
Yeah, it hurts. It does.
Describe to me the relationship between you and Hailey.
It's really good relationship, and I love her with all my heart, and I believe she loves me with all her heart, and we get along just fine.
See, is there anything else you want people to know about you and your relationship with the family at all? Because it seems like a lot of people are buzzing on the internet about it.
Yeah, as far as me, Hailey, and Billy and David, we all get along just fine. And I would never do nothing to that little girl. I love her with all my heart. And I just wish for her a safe return.
On January 12th, police officially stated that Shawn was being considered a suspect. Several facts helped them reach this conclusion. First, it became known that the couple's relationship was sometimes tense. During some arguments, Shawn had threatened violence against Billy and her daughter. Second, among his belongings, they found numerous pages with printed information about serial killers. Later, it was revealed that he and Billy had shared an interest in such topics. Furthermore, police examined Shawn's phone location data and discovered that his account of the day Hailey disappeared didn't match reality. He did arrive at work, where he stayed for 10 minutes. However, after that, Shawn didn't go to his mother's house as he had previously claimed, but returned to Colorado City to Billy's house. Only after some time did he go to his mother's house. It's worth noting that the police tracked the phone's location through cell towers, whose radius covers several miles, so detectives could only roughly estimate where Shawn might have been. In addition to this, it turned out he hadn't been fired. He left of his own accord. The man arrived at work, informed management of his departure, and headed back to Colorado City. After questioning Hailey's friends and other acquaintances, detectives found even more disturbing details. The girl had repeatedly said that she was afraid of Shawn. Hailey confided in her best friend that she preferred spending time outside or at friends' houses because she didn't feel safe around Shawn. She once told her grandmother that she often saw Shawn standing in front of her bedroom door in the middle of the night. Each time, she was afraid he would enter the room.
Things that Hailey used to tell me about the man.
What kind of things?
She didn't like him. She didn't trust him. She was afraid of him.
I don't want to be here right now. I'm going to be here with you because I don't feel right with my stepdad.
Soon, police learned about a conversation between Hailey's uncle and Shawn. While discussing the girl's disappearance, her uncle said something along the lines of, "I can't believe someone could harm a child." Shawn's response was extremely strange. He said, "It's like killing a deer." With all this information in hand, detectives concluded that Hailey lived in a less than ideal family environment. Her mother and stepfather frequently drank and used illegal substances and threw parties. Shawn's behavior seemed particularly suspicious, but there was no direct evidence against him. Eventually, police contacted Child Protective Services, who decided to take custody of Hailey's older brother.
I want to thank everyone for coming this afternoon and giving me an opportunity to make a statement. First, I want to speak directly to Hailey in case she's listening. Wherever you are, Hailey, I'm looking for you. Hundreds of people are looking for you. We all want you home safe. I just want to see and touch your beautiful face. I really love you. I desperately need you home. And there's not a minute goes by I'm not praying for you or crying wishing you were in my living room. I can't handle not knowing where you are or if you're safe. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever laid my eyes on, and I'm very proud that God chose me to be your mother. Next, I want to say if someone out there has Hailey, please let her go. Just turn her loose, drop her off at a church, a school, a police station, anywhere that she can get to a phone and call police or call her family. I've been flat out called a liar by some people. Others speculate on my possible involvement in Hailey's disappearance or wonder if I'm covering up for somebody. Some people accuse me of withholding information and not cooperating with law enforcement. These things are not true, but I now feel that I have to defend myself from ridiculous accusations, slander, or defamation of character.
On February 24th, police searched the house where Shawn lived with Billy, as well as his mother's house. They were in for a huge discovery. On a removable drive and hard disk, they found more than 100,000 indecent images of minors. Police also seized his laptop, but apparently didn't have time to examine its contents. Shawn's father came to the station and demanded the equipment be returned to his son. For unknown reasons, the police complied. However, that's not the most interesting part. Shawn received no punishment for such a volume of prohibited materials on his computers. On March 17th, police went to Billy's house to ask Shawn a few questions. The woman opened the door and said he wasn't home. However, the police presented her with a pre-prepared warrant and entered the premises, finding Shawn hiding there. For concealing a suspect, Billy received 90 days in jail and 1 year of probation. She was sent to a correctional facility in Travis County. After being released, she continued living in that area with Shawn. However, by 2012, the couple finally split up. Billy began to seriously consider that Shawn might be involved in her daughter's disappearance. Since then, the case effectively went cold. Police had no new evidence. Volunteers couldn't find any traces of the girl. This continued until March 16, 2013, when a tourist discovered human remains near Lake J.B. Thomas in Scurry County. Experts conducted the necessary analyses and determined that the remains belonged to Hailey Dunn. Her body was found 20 miles from her home. Police didn't reveal the cause of death, but sources indicate it may have been blunt force trauma.
2013, local authorities were notified of human remains located near Lake J.B. Thomas in southwest Scurry County. The remains were sent to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification for DNA analysis. On April 26, 2013, the Scurry County District Attorney's Office received written confirmation that the remains have been positively identified as those of Hailey Dunn.
After the body was discovered, the investigation heated up again. Authorities offered a $15,000 reward for any information leading to the capture of the perpetrator. Their attention turned back to Shawn, but nothing had changed since the girl's disappearance. Police simply had no direct evidence against him. But there was circumstantial evidence. The girl's body was found just a couple of miles from Shawn's mother's house. This coincided with his phone's geolocation data, as determined by cell towers. Given such a short distance, Shawn could have easily left the body in that location, and no one would have known. Moreover, he had grown up in that area and could easily navigate where best to hide a body. But investigators couldn't find any other leads, and the case again stalled for many years. Despite this, the girl's family had to wait 4 years to bury her remains. The memorial service was held in January 2017. In 2018, Hailey's father, Clint, stated that he believed Shawn and Billy were guilty. According to his version, the mother either helped conceal the truth or was directly involved in the murder.
I'm just I've been staying out of the way of law enforcement all this time. I thought I was doing the best thing by not coming down on law enforcement. And it's been too many years of no action. Nothing's been done. So I'm tired of waiting. I had the investigator over the case right now out of Scurry County. He told me one time, he said he doesn't care if it takes 20 years to do this. And I do care if it takes 20 years. I don't want the person that hurt my kid that doesn't need to walk the street for 20 years.
You think that person is still out there somewhere?
Yeah. I think he's here in this town. Big Spring, Texas.
You think he's in Big Spring?
Mm-hmm. I know he was 2 months ago.
You have somebody in mind?
Shawn Adkins.
You think it's Shawn Adkins, the only named suspect?
Yep. And I think that Billie Jean knows something. She said too many lies. She's avoided too much. And she knows more than what she said.
That same year, he began giving numerous interviews and actively tried to bring public attention to the case. The man stated that in the early years of the investigation, he had tried not to bother the police with constant questions, but his patience had run out. Detectives were barely working on the investigation, and his last hope became widely spreading information in an attempt to bring the perpetrators to justice. And this really bore fruit. In 2019, an unknown person wrote to Clint and reported that in 2011, they had found several items that could have belonged to Hailey. At that time, this person was in high school and hadn't heard about the missing girl, so it didn't even occur to them to report their discovery to the police. However, information about these items is still not disclosed. Police aren't revealing what these items are. Clint only mentioned that they were found in an area that volunteers and police had repeatedly searched. After some time, new information emerged. Private investigator Erica Moore, who was working on Hailey's case and maintained contact with Clint, presented rather disturbing information related to Shawn. In October 2019, she began receiving messages from various women in Texas. They all said that they were being aggressively harassed online by a certain man registered under the name Casey. He not only pestered them with inappropriate messages, but also sent explicit photos and videos of himself. Considering that Shawn had the same middle name, Erica asked the women to send her the photos and videos that the man had sent them. Her theory was confirmed. It really was Shawn. She convinced one woman to go to the police station and file a report against Shawn. But they refused to open a case and even accused the women of fabricating facts. Erica's plan was simple. She was convinced that Shawn was involved in Hailey's death. Given that police couldn't arrest him for that, the story of harassing women online could have put a potentially dangerous criminal behind bars, at least for some time. But this plan didn't work. The case went quiet again until May 2021, when something truly unexpected happened. Erica and Clint were invited to the district attorney's office for an urgent conversation. There, they received the long-awaited announcement. Hailey's killer would be arrested in June. Of course, after the meeting, this information wasn't disclosed. It was kept secret until June 14th, 2021, when after 10 years of waiting, the arrest finally happened. Police took Shawn into custody and charged him with Hailey's murder. At that time, he was in jail awaiting trial under a $2 million bond. However, police still weren't disclosing what new evidence allowed them to make this arrest. Apparently, this information was being kept secret until the trial. At that point, we only knew that shortly before the arrest, police had obtained permission to take a DNA sample from Shawn. Possibly, there was some connection with Hailey's belongings that were found back in 2011. Upon learning of her ex-boyfriend's arrest, Billie made a rather strange statement. She said she wasn't at all surprised that Shawn was involved in the murder and added that she had wanted to believe in his innocence until the end. She also thanked God that this person would now face punishment for his actions, something that Billie herself had actively hindered during the early investigation by protecting Shawn. The date for the start of court proceedings was to be announced in the near future. At that point, it was difficult to say whether they would be able to secure a conviction. It would depend entirely on the significance of the evidence that police were currently concealing. In any case, Shawn had spent more than 10 years free, even though everything pointed to his involvement in the murder. Hailey's complaints to friends and relatives, prohibited materials involving children, constant lies during interrogations, the man looked suspicious from every angle. As for Billy, she initially showed no desire to achieve justice for her daughter. Clint, unlike her, put in all his efforts and achieved his goal. Erica Moore hinted in one interview that the case wouldn't have been solved without his active participation. She didn't give any details, but here we can again recall the story about Hailey's found belongings. It seemed that in the near future we would see a court decision, and everything indicated that Shawn might indeed be found guilty of Hailey Dunn's murder. However, subsequent events took an unexpected turn. On December 30th, 2022, a grand jury officially indicted Adkins for murder and tampering with evidence. For the first time, the suspected cause of Hailey's death was revealed: blunt force trauma to the head. But 6 months later, on June 26, 2023, prosecutors unexpectedly filed a motion to dismiss the case without prejudice due to problems with the evidence base. Soil analysis results and other circumstantial evidence were deemed unreliable, and no direct evidence of Adkins's guilt was ever found. He was released after 2 years of imprisonment, but remained the primary suspect. On January 25, 2025, having made no new progress, the Texas Rangers officially transferred Hailey Dunn's case to the Cold Case Unit. Her father, Clint, and the private investigator continue to search for new information and hope that the killer will still be found. But as of the release of this video in 2025, 15 years after the tragedy, the case officially remains unsolved. It's unknown whether the truth will ever be established and justice achieved for the deceased girl whose short life came to such a mysterious end. Hailey's memory lives on, but questions about her fate, unfortunately, still remain unanswered. Thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I look forward to your comments on this situation. That was Detective STARBORN. See you soon.